Hi everyone and welcome to Sober Bliss. Today I'm really happy because I've got the lovely Joe with me, and you probably know Joe from the wonderful blog on Facebook, Coins in a Jar. Hi Joe.
Hi Gail, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining me today. Just in case anybody hasn't seen you on Facebook, can you just tell everyone a little bit about what Coins in a Jar is and about your story?
When I stopped drinking 15 months ago, I've always wanted to start a blog, but I never knew what to write about.
Mm.
So I thought a good way to keep me accountable and keep me on the right path was to start writing about my journey. And then I thought, how can I wake up every morning and actually feel motivated to keep going? So I decided to make a little counting system by just dropping any coin, a copper coin, into a jar, and
Okay.
that way, as the coins rose in the jar, I would get a sense of satisfaction that I had 4 days or 5 days, etc. Um, so it has nothing to do with money really. It's just the coins were more or less just a counter for me to see how many days I had.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. And did you do that every day? Do you still do it now? Every day?
I did it every day in the beginning quite religiously,
Hmm.
but now I don't. But I will fill it up when I reach a big milestone of, for example, 400 days or 500 days. So I will top it up accordingly. And I have changed to a bigger jar, which now doesn't, which the coins seem really low in the jar, which is, as I say, a good thing because it reminds us that we have such a long way to go on this journey. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
when you
I
look at
was
a big,
gonna
yes.
I was gonna ask you about that if the jar was like really full now and overflowing, but you've
Not
changed.
at all, not at all. It's a long, I'm actually looking at it now. It's a long way to go, and it actually helps you realize that this is a lifetime of counting coins, so to speak. So it's a good thing that it's not full. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
'cause then I'll be very old. No.
So what made you decide to stop drinking then?
Well, I never really decided to stop drinking. I my life was kind of raveling out of control last year, and the doctor told me I should stop drinking. And of course,
Oh, really?
when somebody tells you to stop drinking, you think they're crazy at first. Uh, but when I evaluated my situation, I knew that it was probably the right thing to do. So she said that I should, my drinking was way out of control and that I should stop that day. And I said no.
Oh,
I had some wine at home and I would finish it first, and that's what I did. And I stopped the very next day.
just
So
like that, just stopped.
just just like that, yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So how was it for you then in the beginning? Because obviously, if it was quite a quick decision, there was hardly any planning or anything involved. What did you do in the beginning, apart from your coins, to get through it?
Yes, there was no planning at all. I went right into the internet as we all do, and I looked at blogs and I looked at YouTube and I reached out to people in non-drinking communities, and I
Mm.
joined this fantastic group called World Without Wine, and I was invited to one of their workshops because of my blog. And
Um,
they have a fantastic WhatsApp group, and it's just fantastic to see other people's journeys and what they are doing. And the group goes all day, the WhatsApps don't stop, and it's just an amazing support. And I really, really couldn't have done it without a group like that.
so
Um,
that helped you then in the beginning keep on track.
yes, it helped me incredibly in the beginning, and it still helps me. I mean, I don't look at it as much now, but
Mm.
it's just knowing it's there, and when I feel like it, I'll go back into the messages and have a look at what people are saying, and it really is amazing how many people actually have a problem with alcohol that we you just don't know, and they probably didn't know either, like I didn't know, because
Mm.
we think it's completely normal to drink a bottle of wine every day, but it's absolutely not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was my major realization, was because in South Africa the drinking culture is huge. And
Oh,
to drink a
really?
bottle of wine, yes, to drink a bottle of wine at a social gathering or 2 bottles of wine, I thought was completely normal.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not normal at all, and we don't realize that until we step out of that.
That's a good point. Definitely. Yeah, yeah. So when you stopped drinking, you started putting the coins in a jar and you joined these support groups. Did your life change in any other way?
Yes. I became much more, as my friend said, much more approachable, much more open, much more there.
Yeah.
One of the most profound things that anybody ever said to me was my very best friend when we had a barbecue one evening, and at the end of the barbecue she said, "It was so nice that you were here this evening. We normally would lose you after an hour," and I was like, really? And that was just so true, because after 2 or 3 glasses of wine, I would totally not be there anymore and not care about my surroundings. I often used to ask my husband, what did we do? What did we eat? Did we eat? What happened? What time did we leave? I found myself apologizing quite often to people because I had upset them.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I was always the party queen and the wine person, and everybody used to say, "Hey Joe, where's the wine?" But I put that on myself. I made that name for myself, and I was always the one to party a lot and be the last to leave. And so my life is definitely quieter now. And I
Yeah.
can leave a party at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock and go to bed and feel fantastic and not have to worry about what I did or did I upset anybody. So it's actually a huge relief
Yeah. Yeah.
to be in
That's
this,
it.
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of reaction did you have then from friends in the beginning? You know, if they were used to you being the party girl all the time and suddenly you weren't, how did that happen
To
for
be honest,
them?
I think they were just as shocked as I was. I think, but they were all fantastic, and not one person has said, "Oh, why did you stop drinking?" or "Don't be silly, carry on." Not one person said that to me. Everybody was very supportive, because I think deep down they kind of looked at me and realized that I do drink too much and I probably do have a bit of a problem with alcohol. But nobody wants to
Oh,
say that, as it's such a soft point, or it's so normalized and so stigmatized at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
But for me, I don't think I could have stopped on my own. I think these doctors' words helped me incredibly. I think for me, in my situation, I don't know about anybody else, but when somebody tells you your drinking is not normal, well, that was a real awakening for me. And I was like, really? Do you think so? And she was like, absolutely. And it came as a complete shock to me, because, as we do as mothers, there's such a, if you look on Facebook, there's mothers' jokes every day about mom needs some wine and these massive wine glasses, and I was exactly just like that, racing home to pour my first glass of wine at 5 o'clock, and yeah, and I thought it was normal, but when you realize now that it wasn't normal.
yeah, yeah. It's only until you get out of the cycle, isn't it, that you realize that actually it wasn't normal at all.
Absolutely. I was in a vicious cycle for 10 years, more than 10 years. And you just keep the cycle going, because when you feel bad the next day because you've had a big party, the best way to get rid of that is to just pour yourself another glass of wine. And that's exactly what I did, and for many years. And we try and defend alcohol because we think alcohol is our friend, but we
Yeah.
will, if maybe somebody did say to me, I think my friend once did say to me, maybe you shouldn't drink so much. And I was like, oh, please, it's not the drinking. And you will
Yeah.
defend
It's
it
never the
to the
drinking, is
end.
it?
Yeah, and it actually is. It actually, you think it's your friend, but it's actually your worst enemy. So that
Yeah.
was a big realization for me as well.
So how does it feel then now that you're not in that vicious cycle anymore? How does it feel to be free?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we all, sometimes you still have bad days, you have good days, you have days where you feel moody, you have days when you don't. but I think when you're drinking, those feelings are just exasperated. They're exaggerated incredibly. We all have bad moods, but I think when you combine that with a hangover, or it's a million times worse. And yeah, and I think it was just because I mean I think I did think about. I think you do know deep down that you have a problem, but you wish it away and you say, no, it can't be me. That's not me, because this word alcohol, or alcohol dependent, or alcoholic, as nobody likes to be called, it's just such a stigma around it. And you brush it off, and you brush it off, and at the back of your mind, I kind of knew, I thought, this drinking is not normal, but you make every excuse. You make excuses when you're happy, excuses when you're sad. So yeah, that's what I did for 10 plus years.
Wow. And what's the best thing about your life now then?
The best thing about my life is I'm just living I'm living more in the present. My children benefit. I'm not, as they say, I'm not so moody anymore. I'm more with them in the evenings. I mean, before at 5-6 o'clock, I was already on half a bottle of wine. Yeah, sometimes I would hardly remember putting them to bed, to be quite honest. And yeah, I'm just learning how to deal with everyday stresses in a normal way, instead of numbing it with a bottle of wine. And yeah, it's exactly the same as, because alcohol is so normalized, that people think it's okay to numb it with a bottle of wine, but you don't see people going home and shooting up an armful of heroin. So it's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. But wine is such a pretty, comes in beautiful bottles, and alcohol is all pretty and accepted, especially amongst women at the moment. And my eyes have been so opened, and that's why I'll just continue to make women, especially, I know men also suffer, of course, but my heart is very close to its effect on women, and how, especially us as moms. And because every time I go out, I look at women and I think, that was me a year and a half ago. That was me. And you've got to realize it for yourself. Nobody can really tell you. Well, they can, but it's often a realization for yourself, and for me, a professional added to that realization. So I think I'm very lucky, actually.
I would agree. What did you do when you reached a year of not drinking alcohol? Because you're what, 15, 16 months now? Is that right?
Yes, I'm going on to 16 months. I actually did a tattoo. I have a friend whose husband's quite a well-known tattoo artist here in Cape Town, and he offered to do a tattoo for me. But I didn't know what to do, and I was Googling tattoos, and I knew I wanted writing. Yeah, I love words, so I knew I wanted some sort of writing, but I didn't know what. And then I just remember watching the movie Invictus, the one about Nelson Mandela, and it was his centenary of his life this year in July, the 100 years since he was born, and there was a lot of hype around him, and he's just such a great man, and I love the words of the poem that he used to read in prison, and it's so symbolic, because that, even though he wasn't an addict, it kept him going in prison, these words. So the words are, I am a master of my fate, I am the captain, I am the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul. So when I feel a bit down, I look at my arm, and it just makes me aware that this has been my decision. I've done this, and whatever's happening in my life, I can't control it.
Yes.
So that was very poignant words for me.
Yeah. Could we have a look, if you don't mind?
Get this. Stand up. Can you see?
Yes. Oh, Joe, that's beautiful. Wow. It's quite big.
Yes, it is quite big. But I think these words will never get old. So even when I'm an old woman of 90, I can still look at my wrinkling arm and take some comfort from the words, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a brilliant idea. That's lovely. Because a lot of people ask me this as well. When you stop drinking, what do you drink instead? What have you chosen that you like?
Well, in the beginning, I was, of course, a big fan of these alcohol-free drinks. Like we have a nice one here in South Africa, a nice alcohol-free wine. And I used to drink alcohol-free beer and anything alcohol-free. But I don't know. I think, to be honest, now I just drink lime and soda at home, or I'll drink some water with some lemon. So
Yeah.
the alcohol-free drinks, to be honest, just wore off a little bit for me. And in fact, the wine I didn't really like at all. I just thought, what is the point? Because I think I used to drink for the completely wrong reasons, obviously. So, I mean, I probably never liked the taste of wine. I just liked the effect.
Yeah.
In fact, one person I was talking to said, oh, she loves the taste of wine, but you know, she obviously can stop after one drink or one glass. And I was like, oh, well, I actually don't think I ever liked the taste of wine. I just like the effect. So the alcohol-free wine, I didn't really like it. I prefer just to drink water, to be honest. So I'm quite happy with that, and it's much cheaper as well.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
is. Can I ask you what advice you would give to somebody then who's watching this and thinking, yes, Joe, I know what you're saying, I agree with everything, but I can't do it, or I'm not sure I want to do it. What would you say to that person?
I'd say you absolutely can do it, and you have to find something that's going to keep you accountable for your not drinking. So for me, it was my blog and my writing. But if you want to get fit or you want to lose weight, or you want to run a marathon, or you want to do absolutely anything, you need to try and find something that you absolutely cannot do whilst drinking.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm training for this marathon and I cannot drink while I'm training. And then after the marathon, do another marathon if you have to, or climb a mountain. Do absolutely anything that's going to hold you accountable. If it's going to make you a better parent or absolutely anything. And just take it small steps at a time. Don't say to yourself, you're never going to drink again. Take it 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 10 days. And then have a look and reestablish how do you think to yourself, how do you feel, etc. And there's no ways you will feel worse.
Yes.
Okay, you might feel a bit bad in the first 2 weeks. You might, depending how much you drink, have a bit of headaches, etc. It's your body's way of detoxing. But I don't think anybody after 30 days will say, oh, I wish I hadn't have done this. I wish I had carried on drinking. I don't think anybody in the history of stopping drinking would say something like that.
Yeah. It
And your
does
life
get
doesn't have
easier.
to stop. I mean, I threw myself, I didn't stop going to parties or bars or restaurants or social gatherings. I went on a big overseas trip to New Zealand without drinking. I've been to weddings, I've been to funerals. I've never once cancelled a commitment because of alcohol. In fact, for me, it feels good to be around it, to watch other people and how silly they act. And I used to ask my husband, did I act like that? And he would say, yes, you did, worse. And and actually makes me feel fantastic going home at 10 o'clock and knowing that these people are going to not feel good the next day, and I am. And not that I don't want that to sound like in a selfish way, but when you watch people start drinking and they're having their first 1 or 2 glasses of wine, it looks fantastic and it looks nice and celebratory. But will they stop at 2 glasses? Probably not.
No.
And they'll probably feel it probably won't end well, and they'll feel bad the next day. And for me, just being able to say, okay, I'm going home now, and at 10 o'clock, a decent time, and going home and getting into bed and going to sleep and waking up remembering everything and not having made a fool out of myself is actually the best reward ever.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true as well, because often it's the thought of having a glass of wine that is appealing, but in reality, the thought, disappears quite quickly. But then if you do, like you said, and play the movie forward, then that thought is just, insignificant, and it's so much better if you don't
Yeah,
go
I
through
have
it.
had those thoughts. I've had those thoughts often, and your mind tries to trick you. That's what alcohol does.
Yeah.
Oh, just have one drink, or maybe I can just have an Irish coffee, because that's not really a drink. Yeah, and that's what your mind tells you. And I actually did come very close a few times.
Mm,
And then you've actually have to have this click in you and say, and you have to say to yourself, don't be silly. Don't do it. Just play it forward. Think of tomorrow. And that's what I had to do a lot.
mm,
It's not easy at all. You have to. I mean, you think you're sacrificing, but if you look at the big picture, you're actually not sacrificing. You're benefiting. So that's what
yeah.
I also say to people: just think of the benefits and don't think of the sacrifice. And that for me has been what I do when I feel like maybe
Mm,
having a drink, and you just got to play it forward.
yeah, yeah. Because the benefits are huge, aren't they, when you think about it?
No, the benefits are huge, absolutely huge, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but if you look at the big picture, and if I look at my life in the past year, what I've done, and and I think I've accomplished quite a bit in my life with my degree, and I've had a poem published, but I think this has just been the best, the most the most amazing, rewarding thing I've ever done in my entire life, is to quit alcohol, to quit
Mm,
this hold, this thing that was hovering over me for many, many, many years, for 20 years.
wow,
To actually break that chain and be free of it is actually incredible.
it
And
is.
that's what I would say to people: just give yourself a chance. Give yourself a
Mm,
chance to get rid of this awful thing that's holding you back, because that's what it is. Um,
yes.
End of the day, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
we don't ask to be addicted to something; it just happens. And just to talk about it and be open about it and not hide it has been also very freeing for me. Some people
yes.
talk about it, and that's fine. Not everybody's. Some people are private about it, but for me, it's been, I'd say that much easier because I talk about it, and because I've decided to go on Facebook about it, and that's the only way I could do it, is to actually be accountable and just put it all out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, wow. What does the future hold then for you, Jill? What's next?
I would, because of the response I've received from my blog, people coming to me and people asking me how I've done it, and people generally chatting and saying, I've had complete strangers come to me. I've had acquaintances. I've had friends,
Oh,
and it feels absolutely amazing to be able to share my experience with these people, and for them to actually say at the end of that chat, "Thank you, Joe. You've really helped me," or "What you said today resonated with me," and I've found that so rewarding for me as well. It helps me just as much as it helps them. So
yeah.
I'd love to go into a more formal sort of addiction counseling at some point. No concrete plans as yet, but I think if somebody talks to a person that's going through it and has gone through it, is that much more relatable for them than to be talking to somebody that hasn't.
Yes, that's
That's
true.
that's what I would love to do going forward,
Mm,
sometime in the future.
yeah. Oh, it's all very exciting. To keep us posted,
I
Joe.
will. I will.
Okay, just before we go, if there's one piece of advice that you would give to anybody watching it, what would it be?
I'd say just do it. Absolutely. Just start this journey, and it is incredibly, excruciatingly tough at times,
Mm,
but it does get easier, and it's still tough for me at times, but just to give yourself a chance, and and not drink for, even if it's for 2 days, and then another 2 days, and another 2 days, and another 2 days, and you will see how much your life will improve in every possible way, from sleeping better to taking better care of your body, to being more there with your family, being a better wife, a better mother, a better friend. There's no, I don't think anybody has any negative things to say about not drinking, except maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks when your body probably is wondering what's going on here. Where's this drug where's that drug? And that's completely normal. I mean, if you stop eating sugar, that same thing will happen. You'll get headaches, you'll get a bit moody. But once that passes, I don't think anybody has ever said, I read something on Facebook actually that said, nobody has ever said, I wish I had drunk last night.
That's a good point. That's very true.
So that, if you just keep that saying in your head, and if people want to stay away from alcohol and bars and clubs and social gatherings, then that's what they must do. That's because everybody's different on this journey. I mean, I decided to just carry on and go to the pubs and just be immersed in it, and just to be able to say no thank you, or I don't drink, or to sit there with my lime and soda, for me is perfect. It feels good. But some people might not want to do that, and that's perfectly fine. I think you need to find what is going to work for you, because this is a personal journey. We are not all the same at all on this, especially on a journey like this. So some people do rigorous exercise. Some people will stay in bed for a month. I don't know. Whatever's going to work for you, I would say. But number one is just start. Just start on day one. I also read day one, or one day you decide. So I'll say day one, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, Jo, for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Gail. It's been great.
You're welcome. If anybody wants to catch up with Jo on Facebook, just go to Coins in a Jar, and there you'll find her. And if you'd like to keep in touch with Sober Bliss and keep in touch with the lovely interviews that I'll be doing with other people and regular updates, then just sign up to the newsletter. But do check out Jo on Facebook. Thank you so much, Jo. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome. I'll speak to you soon.